Ex-fiancé?
Yes, girl. Ooh, yes. You know what? I've never even asked myself that question because I don't know how long that burn book has actually existed.
Ooh, okay. But you saw it after y'all had been engaged.
After we were engaged, after we were broken up. I will say this because I know a lot of people have been like, we've been waiting on this story. I will say this, and I'm not going to say no names. If you know, you know. But I will say after we broke up, right? I literally got on my hands and knees, and I mean, I ain't too proud to beg. Like, bitch, you about to be my whole wife. We clap for that one because we can't just be out here. Because love is not something like a book that you could just take on and off the shelf.
What's up, guys? This is Brianna Moore, your host of the Conversations Unearthed podcast, where y'all come for me, but you stay for the guests. Today, oh my gosh, y'all, we have a very special episode for y'all. I'm so excited to welcome somebody who has been one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram, yo. Like, for years, forever, just from your hot takes, the stuff that you post from Twitter. I think you're the reason why I have a Twitter now. Well, an X account. Because the stuff that you post is like, it's so relevant, it's so real, it's so raw, and it's so black. Like, you know, you post a lot of black activities. I literally was just talking to you a minute ago and was saying how, like, I go to your page sometimes just to look at your stories because it's like a nice little, like, my nice little guilty pleasure. Like, you know, I like to watch. It's like a TV show. I love it.
That's from a hell of a compliment.
Really?
Somebody's guilty pleasure?
Dead ass. No, for real.
Wow.
No,
if they're not calling you their guilty pleasure, then they ain't it.
Then you need to let them go.
Yeah, let them go.
It's not it. Like, you gotta go. But from your impactful content to your authenticity, I think that's what it is. You just authentic. You consistently deliver insight, inspiration, and a whole lot of realness. We go dive into what drives her work, the stories behind her post, and why your presence online has been so magnetic. Let's get into it.
You should have warned me about that introduction. I was not ready.
Introducing TC. Okay. Make. You hitting them.
I love it. What's good?
How you feeling? Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know I see you delivering mail Monday through Friday. I'm like, I got the mail.
Monday through Saturday.
Monday through Saturday.
Yes,
This is an honor to have you here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so thankful. And I appreciate the opportunity for you even having me at this point. I know our schedules didn't align, but everything happens for a reason, and we here.
Well, you know, we here at the right time. It's God's time. Because it's divine. Because, like, you know, and how a lot of people who follow me know I am having an event. My first live podcast event, May 30th.
Hit the button again.
The
clap button.
5:30 at 5:30. You know what I'm saying? May 30th at 5:30 p.m. Shout out to Mia, the owner of Ironclad Sports Bar, who helped me figure this out. And I was asking TC about her relationship. We just trying to catching up a little bit. And come to find out, her and her amazing girlfriend met. Did not meet, but you had one of your first dates at Ironclad, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is very ironic.
It's crazy. Like, so for us to be here, I don't think anything happens by mistake, but since I brought it up. Because a lot of the content that you post is with your girlfriend.
Right.
And I
She's
love y'all's
definitely a driving
relationship.
force.
Yeah. So tell me about it.
She went from not really wanting to be in front of the camera to now she's like, we need a couple page.
What?
We need a couple page. Yeah.
Is that coming soon? Breaking news alert?
It's definitely in the works.
Okay.
It's definitely in the works. But,
it's on the list.
like you said, schedules is crazy. Yeah. And like we talked about earlier, it's just not something that I want to make such a priority. We got the shit going on, bigger fish to fry, but eventually it will definitely be a thing. But yeah, as far as our little love story, I'm gonna try to make it the shortest version while giving the most details.
We have
possible.
time, and we have alcohol, so we straight.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, bitch, let's
do it. Oh, you want to toast?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to
pour up?
Okay, because I just poured myself up. So let me know when.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right. Well, yes. Let's do a little cheers, and then we'll get right into it. There we go.
And y'all see, we classy.
Definitely.
We drink.
My pinky was up.
Alcohol
I don't know about you,
wine,
but my pinky was definitely up.
It won't, but it will be next time.
Okay.
We drinking Crown out of wine glasses, baby. This is different.
Bird. But yeah, so we had already, been friends through social media, and I wish she was here because she would love to.
Oh my gosh, she got to come back. You got to come back.
She would love to. Every time I tell the story, she always has to interject and give her point of view respectfully. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But she was already following me through social media, and she would comment on certain, posts, and we kind of related on a lot of social issues. So I found her to be very interesting. And at the time, I was dating someone.
Okay.
And I always like to make this point clear because those who probably knew me or knew of me probably always was like, did she go from one person to the next? And I swear it wasn't like that. It was crazy timing, but it wasn't like any cheating or anything like that. But we always was cool, and I always looked at her as someone that I wouldn't mind hanging out with you outside of social media. And I think oftentimes as a mask presenting woman, the assumption is that any sort of quote unquote friendship that you have, it has to be with either another mask or a guy, or if the woman is femme, you best have proof that this woman has been in your life for God knows how long. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we always talked about possibly hanging out, but it just never came to fruition. And just so happened that after that previous relationship kind of died out, I'm a really big bowler. I didn't know that. I'm not that good, but I do like to.
I've never seen you post about bowling.
Yeah, I should, because I'm not good. I mean, I'm all right, but I like to actually do shit like that outside of, So I had booked a reservation at River City Road.
Love it, yes.
Only thing, I love it too. Only thing about it is I'm the type of nigga, I like to run and start. You know what I'm saying? I need about 10 feet before I toss that bowling ball. And, they have the couches like 2 feet away from the aisle. So I will say that's one thing I didn't like about it. But I made a reservation, and as you know, it has a lot of Palm people there. So it's really hard to get in. It's really, really hard to get in. So it's a point to that, because the reservation I had for like 3 weeks. And the reservation was supposed to be me and the girlfriend at the time and 2 other couples. Me and the girlfriend obviously ended up not working out. The other couple has going on as well. And I was like, hey, I still want to go bowling.
Right.
And I was like, right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm going.
Right. So I was like, well, I'm about to put some shit together. So I start reaching out to all these different friend groups and shit. And I just, thank God that I thought about her. Because she, I'm not saying it like that, but she was not in my mind like that. Like, oh my God, I'm thinking about her all the time. But something just made me think about her. Like, you know what? I should reach out to her, because I did say we should hang out.
Right.
And it wasn't like romantic intentions or anything. I just hit her up on Instagram. We didn't have each other's number. And I was just like, hey, random as hell. I know it's super last minute, but do you want to go bowling tonight? And I do not have Instagram notifications, so I let her know straight up, hey, like, if you do want to go, here's my number. I want to make that clear, because it's not like, I don't, look, if somebody likes me, you got to tattoo that shit on my forehead, because I will talk to a girl for like 10 years before I'm like, here's my number. Because, again, as a masked woman, sometimes it feels
you don't
like,
want to seem like you coming on,
exactly,
like coming on to them, or
you
created that friendship just to get at them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I let her know, listen, I do not have Instagram notifications. So if you do come, because I'm getting ready to bowl, my friend's already here, you need to text me. So a unknown number ends up texting me, and she was just like, yeah, I think I'm actually try to come. So I'm like, oh shit, she's coming. Like, what the hell? So at that moment, I ain't gonna lie, I started looking at her different, because I was like, okay, I'm actually meeting this girl in person. So of course I went back to her Instagram, looking at her pictures.
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
Let me make sure.
yeah. You never know. Them filters can mess you up sometimes.
Oh my gosh. So she ended up saying that she was gonna come, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I knew what she looked like, but it's always different when you see somebody in person, right? So, and it was jumping that night. It was jumping that night, and I'm literally at the front counter, like, waiting for like this mystery person that I've never seen before to walk through the door, and I'm like, every person, I'm like, is that her? Is that her? Is that her?
Yeah.
And then finally she comes in, and I kid you not, it was like a movie where it felt like everything was in slow motion. And all I saw was her. Like, it sounds cheesy as hell, but like as soon as she walked in, it was, and at the time her hair was like really big and curly. So like it was this aura about her that I was just like, immediately as soon as I saw her, I was like, fuck, I'm about to be in love. Oh. Mind you, me and the old situation weren't even broken up maybe 2-3 weeks. And
so you hadn't had time to heal.
Exactly. Yeah. And beyond contrary belief, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I know there had to be some ill intention behind that. Like, I'm not that type of person. When me and, you know, that person that I dated didn't work out, I'm not the type that will just jump to another relationship. I like to heal, because love is not something like a book that you could just take on and off the shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just necessarily get rid of it. So it wasn't like that, but as soon as I saw her, I felt it in my spirit. I knew I was gonna love her. I knew it, and I kind of didn't know how to feel about it, because I'm like, I didn't want it to come off disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I also didn't want her to feel like, are you playing in my face? Like, is this too fast? Are you just saying this?
Yeah.
So I played it real P throughout the whole night, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, everybody that ended up getting invited didn't know anybody. So this is like all different friends blended together. Everybody had a great time. And after we left bowling, I beat her, by the way.
Breaking news alert. Just if anybody was wondering.
Had to make that clear. And still to this day do. So after bowling, my homeboy was like, yo, you know, let's not end the night. We should go to Ironclad. And at this point, I had never heard of Ironclad before in my life. I'm like, shit, I don't care. Because at this point, I'm feeling shorty at this point. So I'm like, shit, I'm not trying to let the night end. So I'm like, yo, what you know, I hit her with, what you doing after this? Yeah, what you doing after this? So I was like, look, they trying to go to Ironclad. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I live up the street from there. So I'm like, all right, bet. So we get there or whatever, and I ain't the type of nigga that we press, but we get there and she's not there. And I'm like, I can't be that nigga that texts her like, where you at? Like, what's going on? So I had to come up with a way to, like, how can I sneak it in? So I kind of text her like, hey, like, just letting you know we here, like, you good? I just want to make sure you safe. Like, if you decide that you ain't coming, that's cool. But you know, niggas is getting kidnapped out here and shit. So I need to make sure. Did you at least make it home? And she like, my bad. I just went home for like a quick second. I'm coming. So I'm like, all right, bet. So she ends up coming to Ironclad, and I feel like that's when we kind of got a little bit more closer, because, like, of course, you know, at bowling, we really couldn't talk the way we wanted to, but you know, the liquor started flowing. Before you know it, it was just me and her talking the whole night.
Wow.
Like, we stayed at Ironclad so long the damn lights turned on, and they was like, y'all need to go the fuck home. So we leave Ironclad, and I'm still just like, I don't want this night to end. Mind you, it's like 2-3 in the morning. So I hit her with the, you smoke? And you know, a bitch keep a blunt in the car. Come on now.
You got to.
So she's like, yeah, we smoke. We go to the car. We start talking. And I kid you not, we're talking for like another 2 hours in the whole car. Just smoking a blunt. And it's so funny because I swear the next time I come up here, I'm going to bring her up here.
Please.
But she has a Polaroid camera with her, right? And that night, we take pictures of each other. And we still have those photos. So I take a picture of her in my car, and she takes a picture of me, and we're both like smiling like we've been together for like 15 fucking years and shit. But you know, a bitch been drinking all night, so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I just told you, I got a thing when I get nervous. I feel like I got to pee all the time. So all of a sudden, I just feel this urge, like I got to go to the bathroom.
Got to go.
So I was like, look, I do not want this conversation to end, but I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I literally told this girl, I said, I will drive 20 minutes back to my house to go to the bathroom, and I will come right back. Literally. And she's like, girl, you do not have to do all that. I live up the street. But I don't want to be that like creepy nigga and like
be like, can I come to your house?
Exactly. I ain't like, I'm not for it. But she literally almost had to beg me like, yo, it's okay. Like, you can come in. And I told her, I said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. If I come to your house, we gonna come right back to my car. Cause again, I don't want to be that creepy ass nigga that somehow infiltrated their way.
So you're like overcompensating.
Exactly. I need to know for a fact this is what you want to do type shit. So we end up going back to her house. We sat on the couch and for another like 2 hours started talking. So at this point it's like 6 a.m.
Wow.
Like literally 6 a.m.
What are y'all talking about? Like
everything, bitch.
Your whole life story, like your coming out story.
Everything.
Like,
literally everything under the sun.
Wow.
And at that point, you know, me and the other girl, we were technically still living together. I was in the process of trying to move out. Because like I said, we had only broke up like 3 weeks prior to that. You know what I'm saying?
This is typical lesbian though. Honestly.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And, you know, my dog was at the house too.
Nike?
Yes. So I'm thinking to myself, just like a child, I'm like, oh shit, I need to get home because I know this bitch is number one, even though we're broken up, gonna be like, where the hell you at? Right. But two, so you want to be outside with bitches and your whole son is at the house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Bitches get weird all of a sudden. They don't want to take care of your animals or your child when they feel like you're doing something. So I said, look, I gotta go. Yeah. So end up leaving. After that, you know, I feel like we were inseparable. I was
y'all didn't kiss or anything that
we
night?
We did not. Yeah.
Did y'all like hug?
Of course. Okay. We definitely hugged.
So what you said? What you said when you left back?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I gave her like this everlasting hug. You know, you never know if you're going to see a motherfucker the next day. So I had to give her a decent impression. Like I probably gave her a really nice hug to let her know like I'm interested in her type shit. Yeah. But literally like since that day, I felt like we had been inseparable. Like we seen each other like almost every day. We would be like on FaceTime.
So in these conversations, did she mention that she was into females?
I think at one point it came up. Like, let her tell it. You know, she may have had like 1 or 2 experiences with a woman sexually, but like most of the time I was like her first ever girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of scared me because I feel like almost every girl that I have dated, I have been there first. And that's not necessarily a problem, but where I feel like it gets a little muddy is typically when it comes to the parents. Yeah. Because here I am coming in with full-blown good intentions. Yeah. And all you can see is, oh, you turned my daughter out. Yep. And this is exactly why I don't play that here's my phone number shit, because I can show you receipts that your daughter was the one that reached out to me, not the other way around. Yeah. So that always scared me. And I feel like that's why we kind of took our time. And plus, again, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about my ex-girlfriend that was my ex for only fucking 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I don't play that disrespect shit. It's still levels, it's still boundaries. And if she was worth it and if she was willing to be patient with me, which she was, she understood that. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, long story short, we end up hanging out like almost every day. And like, I wouldn't even consider it a date, but like one day I was like, yo, I'm about to go to the mall. You want to ride with me type shit? And then I got her some flowers. Aww. And we went to the mall. We went to Chesterfield Town Center. And then we went to, before they changed it to M&L Steakhouse, what was it before? Like Shrimp Co. or... No, it was Casa del Barco. Okay. That's what it was before.
Yeah.
And we had like lunch there. And it was really, really nice. And I feel like we had our first kiss literally maybe... almost like 3 weeks to a month later.
Okay. So the first kiss, because we done hung out a little bit before then. How many times have we hung out before the first kiss? It was that first night for 12 hours. Yeah. And then the next time where you invited her to the mall and y'all went out. So y'all didn't even kiss that day.
Nope. But we were very touchy-feely. We were definitely very touchy-feely. So, like we would probably walk around the mall like arms linked up and shit, hugging, but it never crossed that line.
I got you.
But yeah, the first kiss, I stayed the night at her house, and then I had to either leave to go to work or go somewhere. Okay. And I don't know, it was weird. Like we hugged, and it was like when you do that pull away. Yeah. And it's like we was looking at each other. Yeah. And it was like we both knew, but we just weren't sure. Right. And we both went in for it. And I'm not scared to say it. Like the first kiss was definitely kind of awkward. But after we got it out the way, we did it again, and it was way better. And I was just like, okay, we locked in.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, and I will say this: if you know where Ironclad is, there's a street. It's like 11th Street.
Yeah.
And 11 is actually our favorite numbers. So I always think that's also so funny because the night when we were sitting in the car for hours, we were on 11th Street, and we did not know that 11 was our favorite numbers.
Wow.
Yeah. So we met March 4th.
Meant to be.
We met March 4th, and we didn't start officially dating. Like, we dated. Like, we dated like adults do. Like, let's get to know each other. But, like, in terms of being exclusive, it wasn't until November 11th I asked her to be my girlfriend. So it was that
like,
intentional? That was intentional.
Okay,
that definitely was intentional.
Okay.
You know, in hindsight, we both were kind of just like, let's just see how it goes. And we were both very clear, like, we're not tied to each other. You can date whoever you want to date. We just made the conscious decision that we just were not interested in other people.
I got you.
So she could have totally dated somebody else. I could have totally dated somebody else, but we were just happened to be each other's like main squeeze at that time.
Okay. And she'd only dated men prior to this.
Exactly.
So how has your fears played out with the family?
I will say of all the relationships that I've had, this one has been the most like relaxed when it came to that. Because one thing about Sage, she already has felt like the black sheep of her family. Like, she has colored hair, she has several piercings, she dresses what some people may say provocative. You know, she wears crop tops all year round. So her family has always looked at her as being different. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this wasn't far-fetched. But her mother specifically comes from a very religious like background. So she was pretty concerned about that. But they didn't take it as bad as I thought it would be. And honestly, she took it by the bullhorns. You know, I feel like a lot of times in my previous relationships, I had to be the one to be like, yo, like, you need to have that conversation with them. Yeah. She was very much like, I'm going to have this conversation with them because I want you in my life. And she also knew the background that I came from, like feeling like.
That just healed a piece of me.
Really?
I'm going to just say that. Like, yes. Yes. I've been in situations where I've been with somebody for a long time.
Right.
And I still hadn't met the person who like raised them. And it's like, it's hard. It's hard to feel like you're not important enough, you know, to meet that person.
Because one thing about, like, for me, I don't have a big family. I just don't. Like, my family is me, my mom, my aunt, and my 2 cousins. That's 5 people. You know, obviously I got family beyond them, but like, Sage has a family, like mom, dad, 3-4 siblings, nieces and nephews, and I'm not used to that environment. Like, today, right now, she's going to her grandparents' house because they're having like a cookout. I'm not used to having that many family events. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So for someone who is so close to their family, to make it a priority to make sure that I knew them, like, I was kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, that let me know right there that she was like very, very serious. And for me to be like her first girlfriend, like, that was a lot. That took a lot of guts.
No, that's,
That took a lot of guts.
That took a lot of guts. But you said she's always been a black sheep, so she probably don't give a fuck. She
exactly
was like, look, this what it is.
Literally.
Y'all can take it or leave it.
Literally.
Type shit, yeah.
That is totally her.
But so it seems like, have you only dated straight women then? Like, people who've been straight and then wanted to, because you are very attractive. Like, well, thank you. Would be attractive too. I feel like you would be attractive, and you're like taller than me. All right. How tall are you?
God. I like to say 5'8".
All right. So you're attractive, you have style, and you're tall.
Oh my God.
So like a lot of women I feel like would be attracted to you whether they straight or whatever.
Right.
So have you dated mostly straight women?
I don't even know if I can necessarily call them straight, which I know we're going to get into that topic of like labels and things like that.
Yeah.
I am not one of those women that purposely pursue straight women. Like, there are some women out here that are like, oh, I gotta turn her out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's just the cards that I was dealt.
Been
like
attracted to you, or who has reached out to you.
Right. But keep in mind, like I said, every woman that I have dated, without a shadow of a doubt, has had at least one female experience in that way. Or they'll be quick to say, yeah, like, I've always, like women. It just...
I've never acted on it.
Right. Or they felt uncomfortable because of just how they were raised. Like, my first girlfriend ever, her parents were like Jamaican and Caribbean. So you already knew that wasn't flying.
Nah.
So
your first girlfriend?
First girlfriend.
So they didn't. So how did that feel when she couldn't really introduce you to her parents?
Oh my God.
Because that's a really, and I asked because I felt that way before. Like, dang, like I really want to be, and like you, I feel like we may be the same in that way. My family is not. Well, I have a bigger family, but I did just write my book. I detail all of these things in the book, but my mom was very much so like in survival mode a lot of times, so she didn't trust anybody. Yeah, that included family. So when it came to like family gatherings or family events or having relationships with people, she didn't really, that wasn't her jam. Like, she could cut somebody off and be just fine. Yeah. Like, we may go to Christmas dinner one Christmas, and the next 3 we might not. So like, so like, I'm not really. I didn't have that. Like, I didn't understand how important the relationship with family is. So she cut people off very easily. Yeah. So I said it to say I do have family. Yeah. But the relationship, it may not be great. So it was really just me and my mom. So when you're dealing with somebody who does have that family structure in place, you feel left out sometimes.
No, seriously. And like I said, every girlfriend that I've dated has had a pretty large family or at least multiple siblings. Wow. Like, keep in mind, I do have 2 half siblings, but we obviously did not grow up together. So oftentimes I just consider it like, I'm the only child. So but yeah, my first girlfriend ever, the dynamic was a little different because we actually were long distance. Oh. And we were friends like before we started dating for like 10 plus years. Oh. So we were children. Oh. Like, we were like house phone type shit. Yeah. Right? And then Uvu, remember Uvu when they used to get on Uvu? Yeah. It was that time period. So when we started dating, we were kind of just on the phone dating type shit. And then it got to a point where technology evolved, and then it's just like we're getting older. Like, I'm starting college at this point, like 18, 19. And I'm like, yo, we need to like meet in person. Right. And then we started meeting and hanging out and realized we're going to take this serious. And she would like come down. She was from Maryland. Mm-hmm. So she would come down, like take the bus, or I might come up there for like a day. And I feel like that's when we kind of had to get into that situation of, okay, what are we about to do with your parents? Because her parents have always known about me, but they were not aware of like the relationship. They just thought it was like this random person calling like, hey, can I speak to such and such? And they would just pass her the phone. Yeah. So I've only just been a name in their household, but now like as she's becoming a young adult, it's like, okay, you starting to take the bus every other weekend. You starting to go out like every once in a while. Now her parents are kind of getting a little nosy, like what's going on? Like, who are you seeing? And then eventually she ends up setting up this like meeting with her mom because of course her dad probably just didn't want to be involved in Jamaican men. But her mom, I'll never forget. We were like in a mall for some reason. I don't know why this conversation happened there, but I'll never forget. She literally was like, y'all are like, you poisoned her. Like, very like dehumanizing and like saying like, you know, this is the work of the devil. Like, that shit stuck with me because I was like, yo, like, you really think that's like what? Like,
you really think that of me?
That's crazy. Yeah. But as I got older, I had to realize they're older. Yeah. And they're like a different culture. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with me. It's not necessarily an excuse, but it allows you to kind of understand their mind frame. You know, they may not necessarily have ill intentions, even though the impact has already been made. But I'm just like, this is just the culture that they were raised in. Yeah. Like, come on. Your husband is Jamaican. He's not even eating Gucci. So,
no.
So how can I really expect you to be accepting of this and your man is not even eating your coochie at home? You know what I mean? So,
but also too, like, but how do you think that made the girl feel? Like your girlfriend at the time feel like that put her in a very difficult position.
Yeah.
Like, dang, my parents are my girlfriend.
Right, because she also had 3 siblings who were all women. So she has all nothing but sisters. And she had one older sister, and her older sister actually had a child. So that was probably especially more awkward because it's like, well, if your sister can have a child out of wedlock, you know, no one wants to talk about that. Having a child out of wedlock, mind you, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like the baby daddy was like over age. She was probably, you know,
for sure. Yeah.
But of course,
I'm the problem.
Being gay trumps everything. So I know, so I can only imagine what was going on in that house, considering that regardless of the circumstances of how her niece got here, it's just the fact that like your sister had a boyfriend or your sister had a child, like you don't see this life for you kind of situation. Yeah. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever been told that. I think the first person that I dated, she was very much so like open with her parents about it.
Okay, that's good.
More so open than mine was, and that's when we get into like coming out stories and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, her parents were just like very open towards. So they were like, even her grandma, and I'm at her grandma is.
Oh, if you could get the grandma.
Oh my God, church going. This is the purest. I mean, like the definition of Christian.
Let's take a drink to that.
This is she's the definition of Christian. And I didn't feel anything less than God's favorite when I was with her.
That's
like
great.
Legit. Like
that's really good.
And you know, so when you have somebody like that around you who's of authoritative stance, the matriarch of the family, who accepts you, everybody else kind of follow suit.
Absolutely
follow suit. But
how dare you go against what Granny is saying?
Ooh. But then the second relationship. Look, Granny ain't fucking me at all. Shout out to you, ma'am, because I heard you be watching. But no,
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Ooh. Look, I met her for the first time. Oh well, shit. This is my show anyway. I met her for the first.
We can edit that out.
I met her for the first time at whatchamacallit. You know, my ex just graduated. And I met her for the first time at a graduation.
Okay.
And nobody knew how it was gonna go because we never. You know, it's the elephant in the room. It's like, you know, everybody knows who each other is, but we don't know each other. You know?
Right.
So I walk up to her and I'm in my networking bag now. Like I'm just like I walk up to people, introduce myself all the time. So I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Bree. I heard a lot about you." She was like, "Oh, really?" At this time, you know, me and Shawty been together for damn near a decade. So I'm like,
oh my God, are you serious?
Yes.
Pause. Why did it take almost a decade for you to meet her grandmother?
Good question. I don't know, like shame, embarrassment.
Oh my goodness.
I think that it was a lot of conversations that went on about how distasteful and how much like of an abomination it was, and how, you know, oh, you have a daughter, like you shouldn't be doing these things around her. So it was a lot of that, and this is the person that raised her. Okay. So, you know, it's a respect thing too. Like, okay, you obviously don't like this. I'm not going to bring that around you. But then you got me on the other hand, like, hey, like, I'm actually a human being, and I'm not like out here not doing nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of want to be acknowledged. I don't want to feel selfish for wanting to feel acknowledged. But like, I wouldn't know her if I wouldn't know your grandma if I seen her in the street. Like, you know, that's kind of weird. So, yeah, I kind of like, I really understand that. I haven't been told those things to my face, but I feel like I would have rather been told them to my face than to like know, or, you know, kind of have a feel of what was being said behind my back.
Oh, absolutely. I've had my fair share with that. Like another ex-girlfriend of mine, as I remember, when we first met, same situation, she like slid into my DMs first. and she had a new puppy at the time. you know TC love to churn.
Yes.
So I'm like, he's so cute. And then of course she was just like, you can come see him. And I genuinely thought it was just going to be like a new friendship. So I come over there and I see the puppy and everything is like cool. And she texted me later that night and was like, my mom asked me already, like, did you like me? And I'm like, girl, little does she know that you DM me first. And the whole time I'm coming over here thinking that we're legitimately just friends. Like, she's already projecting what's going on. And of course we ended up dating. This is the person that actually was who my now ex-fiance is. Yeah, your girl has lived several different lives. Wait.
Ex-fiance?
Yes, girl. Yeah.
You asked somebody to marry you?
Yes.
I feel like I remember seeing something about this though. It was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I've been following you for a long time. Mm-hmm. So but yeah, it was like I think I saw like engagement photos. Yeah. And then I didn't see anything else. And I was just like, I didn't even think too much about it, but I was like, oh, I wonder what happened.
That was that's a crazy situation. I won't say that there wasn't really a significant, like, I feel like when people hear about people breaking up, they're expecting this like toxic, crazy situation. All of my breakups have been very amicable for the most part. I think that particular relationship was probably one of the worst breakups that I dealt with, which I'll detail in a few, but everything for the most part has been very amicable. There was no like extreme like, oh, this person got caught cheating. It's none of that. I think it was just a matter of like, I will take personal accountability. I had a lot of trauma and I didn't really grow up. Like, I think when people hear trauma, they think of like the worst of the worst. I just feel like, I got dealt a hand of cards where I was just born into certain mental things that I was not prepared for. Like, I've dealt with depression for 10 plus years. I've dealt with anxiety for 10 plus years. I'm not diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure that I have bipolar somewhere in there. So I feel like a lot of those things would end up being kind of the demise of my relationship. And so don't get me wrong. Do I think that those people probably had some shit that I probably could have been like, you know what, I can't deal with? Sure. But I always try to self-reflect anything, whether it's my fault or not. So I will say, in terms of us breaking up, it had a lot to do with just where I was mentally. But with that one, that relationship, so that's ultimately why we just never ended up, going through with it. It went sour. But I will say this, because I know a lot of people have been like, we've been waiting on this story. I will say this, and I'm not going to say no names. If you know, you know. But I will say, after we broke up, right, I literally got on my hands and knees, and I mean, I ain't too proud to beg. Like, bitch, you about to be my whole wife. We clap for that one, because we can't just be out here, if you gonna marry somebody, this is a different level of commitment. You can't just be willing to walk away. Now, I'm not sitting here saying to stay for absolutely any reason, but if it's a small inconvenience or something that could be a conversation, you can't just be like, oh, I'm ready to get a divorce. Right. So that was my outlook on it. I'm like, girl, I'm not sitting here saying that you gotta be with me, but at the same time, I'm like, you said yes to me already, and we're not able to talk about this. Like, that should have been a red flag for me. So everything happens for a reason, right? Because at the time, I just could not wrap my head around the fact that this person that I literally asked to be my wife is not trying to work this out with me. Like, I went through a severe time in my life because I could not understand it. I actually developed alopecia for a hot second. Like, one day I went to go like put my hair in a bun and I noticed like a whole bald spot, and I was like, yo, what is that? Like, I thought that I had to wake this bitch up. Like, bitch, did you cut my lock out? Like, what the fuck? I thought she dead ass snipped my lock out. And she was like, no. And the bitch went to the dermatologist and they were like, yes, definitely some alopecia. The hair grew back after they gave me like the oil and shit like that. But I Googled it like most people do, and it was like, yeah, like there's actually no real diagnosis for where alopecias come from. Most of the time it's genetic, which no one in my family has it, but oftentimes it's actually from stress. And when I look back at that time, and I preach this all the time for people who are stressed out. I think a lot of people assume, oh, you're getting acne, or, you know, we see stress manifest in certain ways, but we don't realize how our bodies are actually processing stress, aka developing alopecia. And for those who don't know, your fucking hair is literally falling out.
Yeah.
You know how stressed out you have to be, and externally you would not be able to tell that I was stressed out, but because I'm not speaking about it externally, which statistics will show that a lot of women typically deal with their stress internally, like anxiety and things like that, because we're not talking about it. That shit manifested in me to the point where I created my own bald spot.
Yeah.
Because I was that stressed. And when I look back at it, I was like, I didn't feel like I was, because outwardly I didn't show it. But my body was creating chemicals that was like, bitch, you're stressed.
Yeah.
So, but after the breakup, at the time I was living in South Carolina, so it wasn't like we could just break up and I could just come back home. So it was weird because we had to literally live together for like another 3 months. Yeah.
And that comes to the question too, like, so she didn't want to get married, or she didn't want to be with you?
She didn't want to be with me anymore. Dang. She didn't. We got into a minor argument, and at the time one of her family members had passed, right? And I've never experienced death as an adult.
Really? Still?
I've been lucky.
Wow.
You know, I haven't been to a funeral since I was a kid. And of course, the person who died, I wouldn't be able to tell you. We probably didn't have no relationship. They probably changed my diaper one time. I don't know you. Right, so I didn't have any emotional attachment. So I probably was not the best person when it comes to like handling stuff like that. But I feel like I did the best. Comfort I feel like I did the best that I could. Like, and at the time I was working, and you know how jobs are. They don't necessarily let you take bereavement unless it's somebody that literally is your immediate family. So I had to convince my manager to even let me be off for like a couple of days. And at that time, we didn't even stay in the same house. Like, she would be at her parents' house, I would be at my parents' house, and then eventually I had to come back home because I had to go work, and I felt like we weren't communicating. So I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of getting in my feelings, because I'm like, yeah, you're dealing with the death of someone, but at the same time, you can't neglect your relationship. And I want to be very clear with that. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that we had to be on the phone. But like, damn, bitch, if it were up to her, we would have went 24 whole hours without talking. And it's just like, yo, I just want to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
So here I am thinking that I'm doing the right thing by telling her how I feel. Because I'm a very big advocate for voicing how you feel. You know what I'm saying?
What's your sign?
I'm an Aquarius.
Okay. I don't know too many Aquarius.
Oh, gosh.
When is your birthday?
February 3rd. So let's make that clear. I'm also a February Aquarius.
So you right before Pisces. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I told her how I felt. I'm like, hey, like, I don't want this to come off in any bad way, but I just, you know, damn, like, I miss you type shit.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I know in hindsight, it was probably coming from a place of just her dealing with the death of her family member.
Yeah.
But she took it very much like, oh, you're being selfish, da da da. And I'm over here like feeling so gaslit, because I'm like, yo, I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing by telling you how I feel. And you are just taking it like you are selfish. And for, you know, it was a whole argument. And she literally comes home and she's just like, I can't do this. And I'm like, so a part of me felt as though, yeah, it had a lot to do with shit that we've been dealing with for the relationship. But I think the final straw for her, I really feel like the death of her family member, she just was going through so much that kind of spilled into our situation.
But do you think that spilled into it, or do you think that was the out that she needed?
Girl, here's the tea.
Okay.
Pour it up. For those who want to know. Because I think about that very, very often.
Yeah.
So after we broke up, again, we had to live together for like another 3 months. So we're still sleeping in the same bed.
Wow.
Even though we had a 2-bedroom, so sometimes I might sleep in another room. Sometimes we slept together, but we genuinely were trying to like cut things off.
Yeah.
But she, of course, would still be like, oh, I know you talking to bitches at work. I know bitches in your DMs. And like I said, beyond contrary belief, I know some people look at you and because of how attractive you are, they just assume that you about to be out here. I was not like that. Yeah. I'm like, girl, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
And you keep coming to me every day when I get off work after fighting back tears all in my face. Like, I know you talking to people. No, bitch, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
So that was annoying for one. But one day, mind you, the night before, we had relations. Okay. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And a part of me didn't want to do it because I knew in hindsight, like, what am I setting myself up for? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had conversations with my mom and she was like, you got to understand, she's being nice because not only is she a nice person, but she has to live with you for like another 3 months. And sometimes we get those moments of happiness and we think that means that person wants to be with you. So after a while, I had to create boundaries, like no more sex, no more this, no more that, because it was giving me the impression that she really wanted to be with me, and I had to create those boundaries.
Right.
But one of the last times that we did have sex, I'll never forget, she gets in the shower, and I'm not the type of person that goes through phones, but women intuition kicked in.
Right.
And something just told me to look at her phone.
Okay.
And I think the reason why I also got that impression is because the night before we had each other's passwords, and I noticed I wasn't intentionally looking, but she happened to be putting her password in, and I noticed that finger pattern is not going the same way that it normally goes. Yeah. So I'm like, but I peeped what the password was. So as she's in the shower, I'm like,
niggas is attentive over here, okay?
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta look.
Right.
And as soon as I opened the phone, it was like the first like thread of messages was with a guy.
Oh my gosh.
And it was fairly obvious when you scroll up. You can always tell when somebody has deleted messages, because ain't no way that this is the start of the conversation. You know what I mean? So not only is it a guy, but then it's pretty evident that you're also deleting messages. And then I'm seeing photos being exchanged between the two. They were not inappropriate photos, but like, you're clearly sending him selfies. He's clearly sending you selfies. And now at this point, I'm a math teacher, because this shit is not adding up. How the fuck did we just break up 2 business days ago and y'all already having conversations? So now that leaves me to sit here and think, like, how long have you been talking to this person? Blah, 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 blah. To make matters worse, so of course I confront her about it, and her biggest thing is, you should never been looking at my phone. She pulled a nigga on me. You know how niggas are. Well, you shouldn't have been looking at my phone anyway. Bitch, no. You need to explain this shit. Fuck all that. You need to explain this.
Big facts.
Whatever. So that happens. I don't even care. But this is where the real hurt comes in. Again, she wasn't really talking to me as far as like, even as friends, like, let me in, like, let me know what's good with you so I can like emotionally support you. And she was just so closed off ever since that whole situation happened. So I really felt lost. And keep in mind, we're both living in South Carolina by ourselves, because she got a job opportunity, I got a job opportunity. So I just kind of moved there to be with her. So again, if this was Virginia, I would have been moved out. But this is a process, because I'm having to move from state back to another state, get a new job, the whole nine, right? So it was very hard to even vent, which is why I felt like I got stressed, because it's different if I can just pull up at my mom's house. I can't really have too many phone conversations because she's here. I got to go sit in my car awkwardly for like 2 hours on FaceTime. It just doesn't hit the same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like in the house one day cleaning up, and you ever heard of a burn book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Burn after reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably got that shit from Five and Below and shit. There was this burn book that was literally sitting on the table, and I swear that shit was just saying, read me, read me, read me.
Not the book was talking.
And I'm gonna go on the record of saying this. Till this day, she does not know. Yeah, till this day, she does not know that I went in that book.
Wow.
And I know it was an absolute invasion of privacy, but like I said, she just was not telling me what the fuck was good.
Yeah. She was blaming it all on.
Right. And I go through the book, bitch. And one of the pages of the book, and for those who don't know, you know, the burn book, it kind of asks you certain questions or will have certain statements for you to kind of fill in the blanks, so that way you don't have to put too much pressure on your brain to like write shit down. You know, it kind of prompts you to talk about certain things. It was 2 particular entries that sent me to another orbit. The first one was, what is something that you want to do that you've never done before? This bitch writes, fall in love. I am befuddled because if we look back, you were the one who reached out to me.
Right.
When we got engaged, you were very much like, we need to plan this ASAP.
Right.
No one could tell me that girl was not in love with me. I don't play those games. You not about to sit here and play with my face. I know some people that will ignore a red flag. There were no red flags. So for you to have written that to a burn after book.
Is she a Taurus?
No, she's actually a Capricorn, I believe. January, early January. Is that Capricorn?
Mm-hmm. That's Capricorn.
Yeah, so that was the first thing. And then another entry said, what's one thing that you've done that you'll never do again? She put date a woman.
Wait a minute. Okay, so is this after y'all are engaged?
You know what? I've never even asked myself that question because I don't know how long that burn book has actually existed.
Ooh, okay, but you saw it after y'all had been engaged.
After we were engaged, after we were broken up. After we were broken up. So, but now that I think about it, I've never even thought about it like that. Like, how long has this been in here? Was this before or after?
Right. But
nonetheless, it's just like, those are literally the top 2 worst things that I could have ever heard. Because what? Again, I didn't ask you to be here. You pursued me.
You reached out to me, yeah. And you said yes when I asked you to marry me.
That really broke me.
Yeah, that's wild.
That really broke me. I could not comprehend. And then my mom still follows her on social media, which I've told her, please unfollow her. But you know how black moms are. She followed like all of my fucking exes. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
But
yeah.
The girl has a whole baby now.
Oh.
A whole fucking child.
Is she married? No?
That part, I don't know.
You don't know if she's married, okay.
But
is it with the dude that you seen her sending selfies back and forth?
No, I highly, highly doubt that.
Okay.
But it's just, it's the craziest shit. Because it's just like, again, like I said, shit happens for a reason. So imagine had I did marry this girl. Like when I really sit back and think about it, I probably would have been very, very miserable.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have met Sage.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't let that get in the way. Like I know a lot of people will take those situations and be like, oh, I'm never going to get engaged again. I ain't going to lie. Does it scare me to get on a knee again? Sure.
Yeah.
Would I do that with Sage?
How much was the ring?
I think the ring honestly was probably like $500.
Okay.
And one thing about it, like, and I'm a very big advocate of communication, especially when it comes to things like marriage. Like, that's something that needs to be talked about. You can't just spring that on people. So it was never a secret that we wanted to get engaged. Okay. We were very, very like, this is what we want to do. And
what?
Yes. Girl, I told her too. Even though I know what I like, I was very big on tell me what kind of ring you like. And we literally went online and looked at certain rings.
Because I never did this before, but when somebody, did she give you back the ring? And did you take it back?
You know what's so crazy? I feel like I was in the shower like not too long ago. You know, you in the shower and you just start randomly thinking about things. And I was like, whatever happened to the ring?
Yeah, I'm about to say, because $500 in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
It's not
and
like
it was a beautiful ring.
Big. You know, it's not like you got to take a loan out.
Yeah.
But still, it's a good amount, good amount of money that you could get back.
Absolutely.
Since, you know, you don't want to do this.
I honestly do not know what happened to the ring. But you know what?
She got it.
I'm not saying that you wrong if you ask for the ring back. Because, you know, legally, the person is supposed to give you the ring back. Beyond contrary belief. If y'all are married and then get divorced, unless that person wants to give you the ring back, they don't have to.
Okay.
But when y'all are engaged legally, because it's like a in lieu of kind of situation.
I didn't know that.
They legally have to give you the ring back.
Wow.
But I'm not that type of person. Like, when I'm done with somebody, I don't necessarily want to call it petty, but you know those people that's like, yo, I left my scrunchie over there. I need to come get it. Fuck that scrunchie. So it would have been kind of that situation. Like, I'm not going to try to come up with a reason to come see you. Like, so I'm pretty sure that was probably my whole thing. Like, you know what? Do whatever the fuck you want to do with the ring. So I really don't know whatever happened to the ring. I genuinely don't. Sheesh. But yeah, so for those who did not know, that's how shit went. And yeah.
And you haven't talked to her?
I have. The only time I talked to her, so after we broke up, I moved back home finally. It was so crazy because the last day that I saw her, we got into a huge argument. Dang. Which I was so upset about because I was genuine. Like I said, I don't like to be that person. My character is very important to me. I don't really want to be the villain in anybody's story, even though people gonna do what they want to do. Because I'm pretty sure I'm definitely the villain in her story, and I don't care to switch it. Yeah. But I really try my best to end things as amicably as possible. Right. And I'm not necessarily saying that we have to be friends or talk afterwards. But again, I don't want that to be the last impression. But we got into a real bad argument literally the day that I'm leaving. Mind you, I got to go drive 5 whole hours back home. So I had to sit there in my car and think about that the whole day. And, you know, once I get back home, I think a couple days goes by and I start hanging out with like some old friends that I haven't seen, and she starts like calling my phone. And mind you, she took it upon herself to unfollow me off social media, but I'm noticing that she's watching me.
Your stories.
And I'm a petty motherfucker. I have a whole album in my phone with a emoji that has receipt, like a receipt emoji on it. Yeah. And it's full of screenshots of shit that people probably would not expect me to have. Until this day, I have screenshots. Just in case a bitch ever got to go back and pull it out to prove some shit. Yeah. Somebody's watching
January
me.
3rd.
Exactly.
1996.
Literally, I will pull that bitch up. So I literally have proof of her like watching me. And that's not necessarily unusual.
What you mean like, watching you? Like watching your stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that just blew me because I'm just like, you're watching my stories. Yeah. And then from watching my stories, then calling me and being like, why are you hanging out with this person? Dictating what I should or should not be doing. And it was frustrating because, I mean, the truth of the matter is you're being very manipulative right now because you know for a fact I want nothing more than to be with you. And you wait until I drive 5 hours back to fucking Virginia to now be wondering who I'm hanging out with, why I'm doing this, that, and the third. Like, girl, we could have again resolved this before I even left. Yeah. But again, like I said, everything happens for a reason. I'm so happy that, you know, it worked out the way that it did. I hate that we had to have that argument and that I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm the villain in her story. But it really angered me that she really was that audacious to be calling me and trying to dictate what was going on in my life as if you weren't the one who initiated the breakup. Yeah. Like, how dare you?
Dang. And you said you haven't even talked about this. Like... All right, well, this we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break real quick. We're gonna be right back to finish up this story and also get into some hot topics.
Yes.